math and grammar and reading and science and history, all of those subjects, I was failing. I mean, I was just not doing well in them. And it wasn't fun to go to school every day. When we started noticing that Tessa had difficulties was when she was in first grade. And academically, she was doing fine at that point, so we kind of kept an eye on her. And then she hit third grade, and all of a sudden just started to tank. It really went downhill. And then they chose to have me homeschooled. And then my mom and dad kind of noticed some weird things happening. She was still having a lot of trouble with dysgraphia, which means it's a written expression disorder, so that's spelling and any math calculation kind of things that she has to write. And so what we did at that point, we kind of stumbled on visual processing disorders. And through that, a lot of things started to make sense. She has convergence insufficiency, which means her eyes don't converge at near point. So obviously then if you're trying to write, your perception can be off. So she was describing she kind of slants things down. Her letters were different sizes. She reverses things. And at that point, I would say all of her academic things really started to make more sense to us, that we were able to say, oh, finally, we understand.
Okay. Then you choose 3 parts of how you're going to describe, either things that happened in that dream.
What I have, it's not really a disability. It's just a processing issue. So I learn differently. So that it can make it tough when, if you're homeschooled, then you can learn your own way. You can do it at your own pace, at your own schedule, all this kind of stuff. But when you're in public school, you don't set up your schedule. You have what you do every day.
The other benefit, I think, of cyber education is we're guaranteed that she has an academically rigorous, standardized curriculum, but we can move her ahead in the areas where she's kind of doing quite well. And then in the areas where she's struggling, we can kind of back it off and do it at our own pace or do it again if we need to and not worry about her falling behind. The K-12 curriculum that we use, it meets and exceeds in some ways the state standards. So all of that is there and I don't have to worry about it. I'm not putting her curriculum together. It's literally being given to me. I know it meets the standards and I'm just making sure she does it.
Okay, so we're going to do your math lesson, which is going to be based on your books.
Do her study island stuff online for a little while, okay?
Okay.
Like just have her work through that.
It can be hard. Like, you don't get to see people every day. You basically see your teacher. And then in my case, I see my mom and my dad pretty much. And I can see other people, but I don't see them every day. For me, it was so much drama in school that it's just nice to be able to think, okay, if I want to connect with people, I can, but I can have time to myself and I don't have to worry about it during school.
Maybe think about geometry. Anything from geometry stick out to you here?
A triangle?
Ah, you see a triangle.
Oh, I do?
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Okay.
There.
So find the 4.
And why?
Okay, but x is minus 4. So here they're giving x is minus 4. So what value is y?
It's challenging. I mean, you're sitting at home with your kid all day long, and that is part of cyber education. Some students are very self-motivated. Tessa is not one of those students. For things that are difficult, there's a lot of negative that still kind of carries over into her learning. And so we have to be very careful and say, okay, let's maybe try this a different way, or hey, so what doesn't really make sense to you? You really want to, with a child like that, avoid saying things like you're not trying hard enough or you can do better or that kind of thing.
It was visual processing disorder and, dysgraphia and dyslexia and then all these big words that at that point I had really no idea what they were. And I'm still figuring it out, but everything's easier now.
Good. There we go.